Tired of confusing golf instruction? Tired of complicated swing mechanics? Welcome to the science of simplicity. Welcome to Real Swing Golf. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and visit www.realswinggolf.com. Are you struggling with the Real Swing Golf method? This video will explain why. Hello, Real Swing skill seekers. It's Ron Sisson, professional golf coach up here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And it's been a very long time since I've done a video, a couple or 3 years at least, and I just wanted to explain a little bit why. Being a golf teaching professional seems like a glamorous kind of a job, but essentially what I have is a seasonal summer job that requires that I work sun up to sundown to make enough money to last for a year's worth of income. I do teach in the winter as well, but there's not a lot of golfers who are wise enough to see that just setting their golf clubs in the garage for 8 months and not touching them is going to help them develop their skills. So I do get business, but it's infrequent and not as much as I would like. And the other factors involved have to do with the price of oil, which here in Alberta we have basically a one-trick pony economy based on oil. So when the oil prices went down to $30 a barrel, our oil economy went flat for a couple of years, and the people who can afford to golf, the corporate oil workers, all decided to stop taking golf lessons because they are just trying to survive. So those are some of the factors that have made it difficult for me to continue to put out videos. So you may recall that in some of my previous videos on my Learn the Real Swing YouTube channel, I began the video by saying, hello, hack golfers. Now that term hack golfers comes from yet another failed Grow the Game initiative that was started by TaylorMade company along with the National Golf Foundation, which is essentially a market research firm researching equipment and participation trends in the game of golf. And the PGA of America and other stakeholders in the golf industry. It was masterminded by then CEO Mark King. And essentially, they're trying to figure out why the recreational game of golf is gradually dying. Popular sentiment is, when Tiger came along, the growth of the game exploded and so on and so forth. I'm going to give you a very brief history of what really happened. Essentially, in the in the 1970s, the baby boom generation was running around on tennis courts trying to be Bjorn Borg. As they aged a bit into the mid-80s, they started to realize that they're getting too old for tennis. It hurts after a big, heavy game of tennis. And they started to look for other things to do, and the whole baby boom generation decided to take up golf. So we had this massive boom in participation. Courses mushroomed up everywhere. And from the mid-80s to about 2000, there was basically the ratio of people taking up the game of golf, and of course through death or getting tired of golf or for whatever other reasons, people will leave the game. The ratio is always, there's more people coming in, less people leaving, so there's growth. And that pattern happened from the mid-80s right up until about the early 2000s. And right around 2002, it leveled off, so there was a certain amount of people coming into the game, a certain amount of people leaving, and then the trend started to reverse. Since 2002 up until present day, there's always been more people leaving the game every year than are coming in. So the growth curve has now started to go the other way. Now, of course, there's blips here and there. We get a little bit of growth here and there, but the general trend is downhill. So this hack golf idea, masterminded by Mark King, was to try to figure out, well, how come we're not getting growth and how come there's more and more people leaving the game every single year? And essentially, they tried various other things to try to get golf to become more popular, to get people taking up the game and so on and so forth. But they just couldn't figure out the problem. So Mark King's idea was to, quote, hack golf. Now, it's a ridiculously terrible name because the term hack golf implies a really bad golfer. But in the context of what they were talking about, what they meant was hack golf is in like a computer hacker. Let's dig into the code and try to figure out the nuts and bolts of why people take up the game, why they leave the game. And they made it an open source platform because they basically were bereft of ideas. So they did a gigantic brainstorm session with anybody and everybody who wanted to participate. So anybody could join this Hack Golf initiative and then put in their posts and ideas as to why the game is growing. So what they did and what other studies have done is they basically found three main reasons why they think that golf is dying. It takes way too much time. Well, has golf ever been really, really super fast? No. And the whole time thing to me makes no sense. When people go to do recreational things, you see people on a bench, you see people laying on a beach thinking to themselves, man, this is taking too long. Or people going on a hike or going skiing thinking, wow, it's taking too long. We got to get out of here. Only in golf do people seem to think that their time for recreation should take less time. To me, it makes absolutely no sense. So to me, time isn't really an issue. Expense. It costs way too much money to golf, and too much money for lessons, and too much money for clubs, and too much money. Yeah, it's true. Golf is a reasonably fairly expensive sport. But was there ever a time during the boom years where it was really super cheap? No. So expense really isn't the issue. The third major reason is that it's too hard and it's too frustrating to learn. Now that's actually the real problem. Because anything that you do, if you get good at it, you'll probably spend the time and the money to do it. So take, for example, skiing. If you took up skiing and you're a brand new beginner, so what's going to happen? Well, you're probably going to fall over 90% of the time, and you'll only actually be up on skis sort of semi-skiing 10% of the time. So that's understandable. You're a beginner, so you're number two. You've been practicing, you've been working on your skiing, and now you're skiing 15% of the time and falling over 85% of the time. Now over time, if you got to where you were skiing 75, 80% of the time and falling over only 20 to 25% of the time, well, it's kind of worthwhile. But let's say that 20 years later, you're still falling over 85% of the time and only skiing 15% of the time. That's basically the analogy I'm trying to make with golf is the baby boom generation took up golf, brand new beginners, figured they'd eventually figure this game out and get reasonably good at it. But essentially, most golfers, they rarely ever get nice, pristine, solid contact in the middle of the club face on any regular, consistent basis. They have no idea where the ball is going to go. And except for those 1 or 2 times in a round where they actually make decent contact, the ball goes semi-close to where they want to go, it's just all over the place. And you know when you hit those perfect shots, you hit it right in the center, the thing just soars, it's right on target, and your eyes go, wow. That event is so addictive. It'll have people put up with playing, quote, lousy golf for 20 years before even those single once around shots that bring you back for more don't have any enthralling weight anymore either, so people are just giving up the game in droves. So, that in my view is why golf is slowly, gradually dying. Because if people develop the skill to be able to hit that really powerful and accurate shot, say 20% of the time, 30% of the time, half the time, they would end up figuring out their schedule, finding the time, and paying the money to be able to do that. That's why the golfers who are core golfers who stay with it for a long time, they have the skill to make it worthwhile. For everybody else who doesn't develop the skill, well, they just eventually get fed up, get frustrated, quit the game. That to me is the real reason why golf is gradually dying. But is striking a golf ball really that hard? In my view, it's not that hard at all. The reason why it has become hard is because of the way you think about golf and the action of swinging a club and striking a golf ball and the way that it has been taught to you. If you watch some of my other videos, I explain the concepts behind real swing golf, so I won't rehash them here too much. But swinging a golf club and striking a golf ball and becoming skilled at it is eminently doable. It's not easy, it takes some time, but you have to understand the skills that you need in order to do it. And that's why I'm now going to introduce all of my videos from this day forward as Hello Real Swing Skill Seekers. So why will I be addressing all of my videos now and you who are watching as Real Swing Skill Seekers? Because it is skill that you are seeking, is it not? It takes skill to swing a golf club around yourself at blazing speed and strike with incredible precision on the face with a relatively square face to get those long straight shots that you want. Now, the skills that you need are what I'm now calling the critical clubhead skills. Now, why am I calling them the critical clubhead skills? First of all, I like alliteration. Critical clubhead, get it? But more importantly, these skills are absolutely critical that you develop them. Without them, you'll struggle and be endlessly frustrated. And what are the critical clubhead skills? Well, I've talked about them in previous videos. Swing clubhead, freely, fluidly, fast. Those three characteristics defining what I call a real swing. And strike ball with swinging clubhead. But when you have these skills, when you can truly swing free and fluid and accelerate that club fast through contact, and you develop the ability to feel your clubhead's weight, sense the path of it so that you can make a solid and accurate strike, feel and sense the face's free rotation through the ball to get it relatively square, then you can hit shots like this. Ooh, deadly on the money. You can hit the ball when it's too far away from you, like my student Denise, who in 1 hour changed from this.
Yeah, see, that's one of those.
One of those what?
Ones that
Along
aren't
the
good.
grounds. Yeah.
To this.
Ooh, sound like you hit that one pretty solidly. So relax. Rhythm tick. Talk. Now wait a minute, Denise. Are you telling me that you're hitting a golf ball that's at least 5 or 6 inches too far away from you, and all you're thinking about is swing club head, strike ball with swinging club head?
That's true.
Huh. Interesting concept.
That's true.
You're striking it quite nicely as well.
Straight down the middle.
And straight down the middle.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
So how in the world is she able to hit a golf ball that's about 4 or 5 inches too far away from her in just 1 hour after doing nothing but topping the ball at the initial start of our lesson? Well, it's because I taught her the basic clubhead skills that she needs. Some students can even do everybody's favorite shot, the Happy Gilmore. So this is Sean. After one lesson with Real Swing Golf, and he's doing the Happy Gilmore and hitting it right in the middle of the club face and pretty far and straight.
Post that on YouTube.
Solid?
Yep.
Nice and straight? And there you go. And all we're thinking about is swing club head, freely, fluidly, fast. Strike ball with swinging club head. Who cares we're on a dead run? And?
Again, straightaway center field.
What's that?
Straightaway center field.
Now when you get really good, you can do Happy Gilmore call shots.
What are you aiming for? What's the 150?
Target is 150.
Okay. Draw. Yep. Fade.
Come on, fade a little.
That's
That's
a
dead
beautiful
straight, actually.
That was a beautiful shot. Draw. That's a nice draw. Slice.
Yeah, that's a pretty good
That's
slice.
a good slice. So there's nothing like a good slice.
Now, I'm not paying Andrew to say this stuff,
No, I'm making it all up myself.
but you're actually seeing the ball flight and telling them what it is, because they're not going to be able to see it on this camera.
Shank. Oh yes, that's a great
Oh,
shank.
that's like a beautiful shank. So you see, you can hit intentional bad shots if you're so directed
Draw.
while running. Come on.
Draw.
Whoops. Little fade on that one.
Yeah.
No, I'm not perfect. Making pretty good contact though.
You're making great contact.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I'm running.
Draw. That's a nice draw.
There we go.
Fade. Yeah. Hook.
Whoa, snapper. Solidly struck too.
Snap hook.
And you can hit the range cart at will. Everybody's other favorite pastime on the driving range. Range cart. Now it's not it. Am I going to get him? Oh, I got him. Now when you get really, really good, then you can do the Happy Gilmore and hit the range cart. Oh, Happy Gilmore and hit the range cart. Got him! Oh, Happy Gilmore and hit the range cart. Got him! Now I don't do these things just to show off. As you saw, my students do similar shots. What I'm doing is I'm showing you the skill that you can possess if, and this is a critical if you keep your attention focused on developing those two simple skills that I've talked about. So the question is, how do you develop these skills? Well, if you go through some of my previous videos that I've done on the Learn the Real Swing YouTube channel, I don't really explain how to do it, but I give you the underlying basis of the ideas behind the philosophy, the mentality, the approach of focusing not on how do I move my body parts through swing positions A, B, C, and Q to the power of the pi r squared, but simply to focus your full attention on swinging this implement and striking this motionless ball sitting on the ground. Now I do give little crumbs here and there as to how to, and I'm going to give you some now. I've never really talked about how to swing the club freely, fluidly, fast, except I did give descriptions in some of the description boxes as to how, but I'm going to outline it for you now as to how to swing freely, fluidly, fast, briefly. So to swing freely, your first key thought as you prepare to execute your swing is relax. If you have a bunch of tension, hands, arms, or anywhere else, how in the world is this golf club going to swing freely? So as you prepare to swing, your first key thought is relax, especially here in the fingers, hands, and arms, so that you can feel your club head's weight. I've got this little stubby club because I only have 8-foot ceilings. But essentially what you do is if you get your hands very soft and relaxed, your brain can begin to feel and sense that there's a heavy weighted mallet at the end of your lightweight stick. Because that's essentially what a golf club is. It's a super lightweight metal or graphite stick, rubber strip here that's not really heavy at all. And the head is where all the weight of a golf club is concentrated pretty much. So as you prepare to swing, first R, relax. Now during the swing, we want to create a swing that's fluid and fast. So with relax, that takes care of the freely part. And with the rhythm of the swing, this is the second R word, you can create a swing that's both fluid and fast. And the rhythm of the swing is the rhythm of a clock. And the rhythm of a clock is tick-tock. So if you get a golf club swinging back and forth like a pendulum, it swings freely, it swings fluidly, but the key element that we were missing, developing speed and acceleration through the bottom of the swing arc where we impact the ball, is missing. So what we do is we change the spelling of the word talk, T-O-C-K talk, to the word talk, T-A-L-K talk. So it's not tick-tock, it's tick-tock. Pun, play on words. Listen, tick. Did you hear the Woof. So that's how it talks. So that's it. That's all you got to do. It's pretty simple. Relax, that takes care of the freely. Rhythm tick, T-A-L-K, whoosh, talk, that takes care of the fluidly and the fast. Now at the end of the swing, there's the third R, which I'm going to briefly go through, and that is reflection. So you get yourself set, get nice and relaxed, make a rhythmic tick, T-A-L-K, talk, swing, and at the end, stand still and don't move and reflect upon these two things. Am I steady and balanced? And have I finished my swing in the proper position? So when you swing a golf club properly, there's actually a tremendous amount of physical forces being exerted upon you, because this club head, whatever weight it is, by the time you get it swinging around you at speeds far faster than you'd ever safely drive your car on a highway, it's going to pull on you with centrifugal force pull. And it'll take your body from being tilted forward and facing this way to stood upright and facing towards your target. And you get spun rapidly off of 2 feet, which you can't see them in here, and your back foot will pivot up onto its toes. So the forces of that, because you get pulled around into this position, you may find when you really start swinging with speed and momentum that you find yourself to be a little bit off balance. That's okay. Just keep trying to hold that finish when you reach the end of your shots. And what I tell people is, if you're practicing without golf balls, just pretend you've hit one and wait about the 10 seconds or so it'll take for the ball to fly out, come to the ground, hop and roll to a stop. So essentially, if the ball is still moving, don't move, hold your finish. This will help you learn balance. And the second thing you're looking for is a proper finishing position. So you start off, tip forward and facing the ball here, and when you're done, you end up stood upright, facing the ball this way with your weight fully on your front foot, back foot pivoting off the ground onto its toes, club wraps around behind you, and then when you get old like me, it recoils because you lose your flexibility. Then your head is up and looking down the fairway. Wait a minute, did I say the head is up and looking down the fairway? Now, what were the first 2 pieces of advice you received the first time you wrapped your hands around a golf club? Whatever you do, do not move your head. And your eyes, they're defective. You keep looking up to see where the ball is going. That's why you're missing and topping it. So focus on your eyes looking at the ball. These 2 ideas are part of the lexicon of what I call golf folklore wisdom. They have never once been correct. So this is why you'll see golfers, even to this day, doing this nonsense. Where did it go, George? Name me one modern golfer today who swings and finishes their swing like Jack Nicklaus and all the guys in the 70s did, trying to keep their heads still. Every modern golfer today allows their heads and their bodies to come upright with a proper balanced finish position. And as far as your eyes are concerned, never think about your eyes in any way, shape, or form. They will always instinctively embark upon their task. If you decide to hit something with something, your eyes will always look at the thing to hit. Have you ever gotten ready to hammer a nail and then you go, oh, I'm looking over here, I took my eye off the nail. Has that ever happened to you once? You ever gone to kill a fly with a fly swatter and then you're tracking it and then all of a sudden you realize, I'm looking in the wrong place? No. Anytime you decide to hit something, your eyes will automatically track the thing to be hit, if it's moving. If it's not moving, like a nail or a golf ball, your eyes will instinctively look at the thing to hit, to tap it a few times, and then hammer the nail. When you strike improperly, never ever blame your eyes. They always do their job. Blame your lack of hand skill, because in hand-eye coordination, there's 2 parts, the eyes and the hand. The eyes, they always do their job. The hand skill is the 99% of it. So don't, if you strike improperly, don't let somebody tell you that you must have taken your eye off the ball, because you didn't. It's just that you haven't developed your hand skill. So now there's tons more detail that I can get into with regard to reflection and why these things are so important. And some people have commented in the comment section This guy never gives us all of the detail of everything that he knows. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll spend some time and put 20 hours of videos out there with every single piece of knowledge that I know about this, all for free. But first, what I got to get you to do is whatever you do for a living, you do it for free for a year, and then send me the money so that I can survive, so that you can get all this free information on YouTube. No, I won't be explaining everything. I have video, a digital download video for sale that you can purchase. You can also come, if you live in the Calgary area, you can come and have lessons with me. I've had people fly in from out of country to have lessons with me as well. So I have golf schools if you want to do that as well. And I also teach online. So you can have lessons with me over the internet, just like you and I are talking face to face. With a Skype or FaceTime video connection, I can teach you in person, so to speak, but over the internet that way as well. So I've given you a little bit of more information as to how to do this, but if you want the full meal deal, you're going to have to pay for it. Welcome to real life. So even though I haven't given everything that I know about how to teach this methodology on YouTube, many of you have, just through watching all the series of videos that I have just gleaned on the concept and started to develop it on your own without any input from me other than what you've seen on the YouTube videos. And I get emails all the time with people explaining what happened to them. So here's a couple of testimonials of this method. A fellow from South Florida writes in and says, "Greetings, Mr. Sisson. I hope this email makes it to your desk. I'm a 57-year-old retired firefighter from South Florida. I played college baseball and took up golf seriously in my 20s. I've been hooked ever since and have taken lessons from several top instructors in South Florida. I must admit, I'm somewhat obsessed with the game and have hit thousands of golf balls in my life. I'm sure you've seen people like myself on the range hitting ball after ball, sticks on the ground, straps on the torso, etc., etc. In other words, he was fully involved in the whole mechanical golfer idea. He says, I've just returned from the range and I haven't been this excited about a swing concept in my life and can't wait to get to the range tomorrow to see if it's still there. Last night, I stumbled onto your YouTube channel and watched several of your videos inquisitively. I thought to myself, can it be this simple? Freely, fluidly, fast? Come on. Today was one of the best range sessions I've ever had. I'll admit, it took 20 minutes of trying to loosen my grip, find fluidity, and just overall, quote, give up the club, close quote. I think he's saying learning to give up control to allow the club to swing freely. Amazing how much tension I've incorporated into my swing over 30 plus years. Your partial Happy Gilmore drill of step swing really exposed my lack of freedom. But it wasn't long, and it finally started to come together. I started ripping it, even with the Happy Gilmore move. I had people coming down the range to watch. What? Yep, Happy Gilmore step swing 3-iron, 215 yards. Come on. I'm 57 years old, bald, overweight. This isn't really happening, is it? Anyway, I could go on, but the grandkids are calling me. Your instruction is brilliant. If you ever make it to South Florida, I owe you a beer or two. And that's sent from AOL Mobile Mail. He didn't leave his name. Here's another one. I'm a 12 handicap and have been struggling with my game. Even after countless lessons, my game has not improved. In fact, the more I practiced, the worse things got. And what would he have been practicing? Probably the traditional stuff that people are told. I think you got to get more hip into it. I think your shoulders aren't turning right, your wrists are in the wrong position. And if you watch some of my other videos, you realize that that's an internally focused approach where you're trying to keep track of all of your limbs to explain to them what to do to hit a golf ball. And scientifically, that's been shown to not work. Whereas real swing golf is externally focused on having your conscious attention focused on swinging the club and just striking the ball, and your brain in the background subconsciously figures out all the details of mechanical movement so you don't have to think about it. So this fellow who plays to a 12 handicap, which is essentially shooting about in the mid 80s to the low 90s, and occasionally breaking into the 70s. He says, came across your 8-part lesson on YouTube this past Saturday morning, watched it in its entirety, and then went to the range. Completely striped 61 out of 70 balls in the bucket. Went out and played 18 holes Sunday morning and shot 76. Have not broken 80 in 27 rounds. Your method of teaching the game is genius, pure and simple. I did not have to think about weight shift or club position, knees, back, or anything. Freely, fluidly, fastly, and on your toes, just like the pros. Pure genius approach to the game. It's so simple, it's almost stupid. I cannot thank you enough for the information you've put on the web. John V. Donangelo from Monterey, California. So, you might be thinking, okay, well, I've had some success. Or you might be thinking, well, I tried this real swing golf stuff, but I just can't figure it out. So the question is, if you're struggling with this particular methodology, why could that be? Well, I'm going to try to illustrate a few other things that may be in your way. I mean, the basic concept's pretty simple, right? Keep your hands relaxed so you can feel this weighted thing. Keep your mental attention out here on the club. Feel the weight of it carve its heavy circle through the air. And just practice and develop the skill to strike the ball as close to the middle of the face as you can. Some people pick it up very quickly. Some people it takes a little longer. Some people they just don't get it at all. So here's the problem. Golf is actually, although the concept of it is very simple, there may be various things that are holding you back. When I'm teaching people live in person, I have to spend about a half an hour to 3/4 of an hour at the start of the lesson deprogramming them from the whole mechanical golfer idea, which I've gone over in some of my earlier videos, so review those and you'll understand the basic concept. And just briefly there, if you truly believe, as the vast majority of the golfing culture does, that golf is this game of human bioengineering where you get the right grip, setup, posture, and you have to move yourself through these carefully coordinated mechanical movements, if you truly believe that, then you have to also believe and be able to answer these two questions. The first question is, what's the measurement? So if you think your head lifted or your arm is bending or there's some too much or too little hip rotation while you're swinging, it only takes a fraction of an inch in any direction outwards from center to get something you don't want. All it takes is 3/4 of an inch up to hit the ball in the equator and hit those low screamers. So are you going to be able to tell when your head lifts by 3/4 of an inch in the middle of your swing? Probably not. The other question you have to ask is, well, if it is mechanical efficiency and endless practice to train your muscles to remember the exact perfect technically sound swing, ideally, in order to get the good shots you want, as I've talked about in other videos, you have to strike within about a 1/16 of an inch accurate of the center of the club face consistently time after time. Are you telling me that you're going to be able to keep track of all your limbs and make them all behave properly to within a 1/16 of an inch accurate? I've never had anybody tell me they think they can do it, and you're probably not going to be either. But you don't need to worry about all those details if you simply allow your subconscious to become skillful at sensing the path of the club. It's through a motor movement and a motor skill learning process called implicit learning, which is basically your subconscious taking care of all the details of mechanical movement to accomplish your task. And you use it all day long. When you walk out the door and reach for the door to turn the knob, you don't have to think about how your arm is operating. You just think outside of yourself, externally on, I want to open this door, so you reach for the knob and you turn it. And then whatever muscle things have to happen, whatever mechanical movements have to happen, they just happen automatically. So the same is true in hitting a golf ball. So the first step to developing these real swing skills is to take your attention off of yourself. Yes, you've been hoodwinked by the entire golf culture, including the golf teaching culture, to focus on your body parts because it seems like they should take the blame for when you hit the ball improperly. It's never been the real problem. It's a lack of attentional focus on your task, which is what? Swing a club and hit a motionless ball. I mean, how hard can that be? You have to take your attention off of what are my limbs doing while I do this and just simply focus on the task. Feel the club head's weight whirl through the air, look at the ball, and then try to hit it. Your brain will take care of all the mechanical details in the background subconsciously, which is why Mr. Don Angelo said, this is great, I don't have to think about weight shift or anything, just swing the club, hit the ball. As he said, it's so simple it seems stupid, but it's genius. But here's the thing. I'm not the genius. I'm just simply conveying the principles. The genius is in whoever created us, if you believe that, or somehow by blind random chance all these molecules and universes came together to create these amazing human machines that can whirl a stick around at a blazing speed and strike with a 1/16 of an inch precision. So this is just the built-in way that human beings learn motor movement skills. So I'm not the genius. It's the genius behind the way our brains and bodies are designed to accomplish motor movement tasks. I'm just trying to help you get onto them. So the first step is to take your attention off of what your limbs are doing and get fully focused on sensing and feeling this club head. Because if you think about it, that's the only thing the ball ever comes into contact with. It doesn't care about what you look like, how your swing moves, or anything like that. It cares only about you becoming skillful at swinging and striking, the two critical club head skills. Now, I've gone over that in detail in other videos, so I'm not going to belabor the point here. But take your attention outside of yourself on swing club, strike ball, let your subconscious deal with the variables in the background. Now, there are 4 other, what I call mental misperceptions. So there's basically a total of 5 mental misperceptions. The first is the mechanical golfer idea, which we've dealt with ad nauseum. There's 4 other things that can also trip you up, and these are instinctive misperceptions. And I'm very briefly going to go through them here, and some of them may ring a bell with you. So one that's reasonably rare is the hit instinct. So you go to any range in the world and you see golfers going, and they make this sudden savage attack at the ball, which is where golfers get the nickname hackers. So that's the instinct to hit the golf ball. When you just focus on executing the swing thoughts that I talked about, staying relaxed, swinging the club freely, to swing freely, and then the rhythm of the swing, the tick, T-A-L-K, talk, when you get into that pendulum-like rhythm, and then you start developing the skill to guide the path of that swinging momentum in the ball, you'll realize that you're not the one hitting the ball. You just create momentum in a swing and momentum hits it for you. So the hit instinct will go away very quickly as long as your attention focuses on creating that good rhythm in the swing. Now, a much more common ailment is the control instinct. It's kind of the opposite of the hit instinct, and this is where golfers will tighten themselves up and slow everything down, trying to be in control of their swing, which is kind of like swinging a pail of water really slowly and carefully, thinking that you're in control of the pail of water. So what you have to learn is that you create control with a golf club, not by controlling it, but by creating centrifugal momentum that controls itself. If you remember when you were a little kid and you had the pail of water and you're going, look, mommy, the water's staying in the bucket. What made the bucket follow its consistent path and the water stayed in the bucket was the speed you were generating. So when you swing a golf club, your goal is to swing as fast as you freely and fluidly can. Speed creates greater control. So the faster I can get this club accelerating through the bottom of the swing arc, the truer and better that swing arc becomes. And I don't control it, I learn to guide its path through the ball. Very important distinction. So next time you go to the range, if you feel like you're carefully trying to put the club on some path or something, don't. Hold lightly and then get that club moving. Now, notice I said swing as fast as you freely and fluidly can. If you try to go faster than you're physically capable of, what ends up happening is you just tighten up and the swing, instead of a nice flow of acceleration, feels like a sudden stab of acceleration. Well, you've just wrecked the freely and the fluidly trying to swing faster than you're capable of. So you do want to go right to the limit of creating as much speed as you can, But if you cross the limit of what you're capable of and you notice tension or a jerkiness, choppiness to the acceleration, you have to throttle it back just ever so slightly so that those three elements, free, fluid, and fast, are nicely balanced with each other. Now, when you do swing like this, it'll feel to you as if it's out of control. Learn to love that feeling, because that's what real control feels like when you get that club whirling around, and you'll literally feel its heavy feeling arc shape. Now, if it feels like it seems to carve that consistent path, like when you were swinging that pail of water as a kid, even though you're not really controlling it, you're just attached to it, hanging on to it while it controls itself, it's controlling itself perfectly. And you have to learn to love that feeling that I don't control it, it controls itself, and I learn to guide it. So that's the control instinct. If that rings a bell with you, that may be why you're struggling with this methodology. Another one is the lift instinct, and this is the idea of trying to get under the ball. For golfers who are trying to swing free, fluid, fast, but they still think they should be trying to swing under it, they will often be leaning back and trying to scoop the ball upwards, and then somebody says, "You're not shifting your weight. That's the problem." No, that's not the problem at all. The problem is an incorrect understanding and perception that I have to do something to make a golf ball go up. And as I talk about in my teaching philosophy, I have this thing I call the master principle, which is your body will just obey the instructions from the brain. So if my instructions are saying I need to strike upwards at a golf ball's underside, well, then this movement is perfect for trying to swing upwards at the underside of a golf ball. So the person who has reverse weight shift, they're doing exactly what they should be doing with their incorrect perception. So if you have trouble with this, hitting the ground before the ball, sculling, topping, missing, it's not because you're not shifting your weight or your head's lifting or your arms bending. You don't correctly understand that what you're trying to do actually in reality is sweep your club head directly level into the back of the ball. As soon as you have that perception, your brain and body starts to move in accordance with that perception. Weight shift is there, and we may even get divots after contact. If you go on YouTube and you type in golf ball impact or golf ball impact divots, so on and so forth, you'll see as you watch, especially the super slow-mos that you see in the golf broadcasts, the golf ball does not go up because the club swings down, reaches a low point, and then starts to swing up as it makes contact with the ball. Especially when you see a pro taking an iron shot and taking a divot, the contact is impact first, and then the club cuts through the turf after. And the golf ball goes in the air because golf clubs are not croquet mallets. What I tell people is hit your golf shot like it's a croquet ball. You hit the ball by swinging the mallet head not up at the ball, and nor, in my opinion, should you be trying to hit down on the ball either. You should just be basically swinging so that at impact the club is not swinging up and not swinging down, but basically swinging perfectly level and skimming off the tops of the grass where you impact the ball. But a very important distinction. When you're golfing, do not use croquet mallets. They have a flat face design. So if you swing level into the ball with a flat face design like a croquet mallet, it's going to skim along the ground. Use golf mallets, and they've got a tilted face design, and the second you make proper contact, even though the club's not going up, the ball has to go up because of the design of the mallet. Now the fourth instinct is what I call the steering instinct, and this is an instinct which basically says, if I want to hit the ball in a straight line, I need my golf club to swing in a straight line. So if I'm swinging directly towards you, there's the target. Golfers who have the steering instinct will sometimes be swinging their club very vertically because their brain is perceiving the swing as a Ferris wheel. It's as if they're trying to create this circular path for the club where the club is swinging in a direct straight line with the target. Well, does this look right? No. So, when we swing, the club is going to curve away from the target line, curve back to meet it briefly, and then curve away from the target line because our swing is not a Ferris wheel circle. It's tilted on its side, and as a result, the club curves away from the target line, curves out to meet it briefly at impact, and then curves away. And while that's happening, The face of the club will start off facing at the target, but as you swing back, it will open naturally, not because the person is twisting or turning the club, it just opens naturally with the arc of the swing. At the top of the swing, the wrist hinge and the club, as we come down, halfway to impact, is going to be facing 90 degrees to the right of where we intend to send it. It will then rotate to be square at contact, and then it will close as it goes through, facing 90 degrees to the left. So from waist high to waist high, there's a full 180 degrees of club face rotation that happens in a split second because the club is accelerating faster than cars driving at highway speeds. And there's this full rotation. Now, the steering instinct, and sometimes people will consciously say this, is let the club come to square just before contact, hold it square all the way through and past contact for a foot, 6 inches, whatever measurement people think is possible, and then hold it square as long as possible before you come up to the finish. That basically is an attempt to defy the laws of physics and is a complete waste of time. Because if a golf club is whirling through space at blazing speed and it's in a state of rotation, rotating a certain number of degrees per second from facing this way to facing a full 90 degrees difference in a split second like that, how exactly are you going to stop its rotation at a certain exact point, keep it square, and then have it rotate after that? Again, this is just an attempt to defy the laws of physics. And the end result of the steering instinct is slicing. Because whether you're aware of it or not, the club face is rotating, and your attempts to hold it square, what feels like you're keeping it square, all that's doing is preventing it from squaring up. It's wide open when you hit it. It gets to square way past impact, way too late, and you look up and see a massive slice. So perhaps that is what is holding you back as well. Other things that can hold golfers back is the way their mind is thinking while they're swinging. If you're on the first tee and you're thinking to yourself, oh, there's a bunch of people watching. Oh, geez, this is going to be so embarrassing. I hope I don't top it like I did the last time I was on the first tee. Please explain to me how your brain can focus on feeling the weight of this stick, whirl it around at an unbelievable distance, at unbelievable speeds, and strike with incredible precision and a rapidly rotating vase and get it square, while your attention is thinking about other people watching you. So there's many, many factors that can make golf very, very difficult. So what I would suggest is buy my videos. And I will be actually producing another video that will be coming out hopefully in the first half of 2018. That's going to detail this stuff a lot more. The video that I have out from 2004, now close to 14 years old, it outlines the very basic concepts and some basic swinging drills and a few other things that are definitely worthwhile getting. But once I get the new video out, I'm going to add all of the knowledge that I've gotten over the last 10 plus years of extra teaching experience from when the first video came out. Now, if you want some help with me directly, then sign up for my online coaching. Now, my online coaching is not like other online coaching. If you go on various websites that offer online coaching, essentially what it is you send in a video of your swing, and then the pro looks at your swing and says, this mechanical idea, the way your body's moving here is wrong, the way your body's moving here is wrong, the way your body's moving here is wrong, and they'll send you back a video, perhaps even verbally stating, or perhaps a list of things. Here's some drills that you can do so you can fix the mechanical movements of your swing. That's not how my online coaching works. My online coaching works like this. You go to a driving range, you set up your iPhone or an iPad or a laptop preferably. Make sure you can get on a Wi-Fi connection if they have a public Wi-Fi at the driving range. I'm here, just as you see here in my house, in my living room, and we're talking over the internet face to face and having an actual real live one-on-one lesson in real time. Now the only thing that we can't do is shake hands at the beginning of the lesson, but I can see you swing and I can give you feedback and help you understand these where your specific problems are. And that's the long and short of my message to you today. Because I don't know you and I don't know what particular areas you may be struggling with, the hit instinct, the lift instinct, the steering instinct, the control instinct, overthinking the mechanics of the swing, you have some mental focus issues while you're swinging because you let your mind get distracted from the task of swing the club, hit the ball, send to the target because you're worried about the water over here or the people watching, or I've just had 3 good holes in a row, I'm certain to screw it up on the next one because that's what always happens. There's a multitude of various factors that can be holding you back. So sign up for 1 or more online coaching sessions and I can definitely help you get to the root of the problem for you individually. And that's really my only problem with giving people these YouTube videos and the videos that I have for sale or books and so on and so forth. It can give you some good information and you might be able to figure it out, but every single human being is individual. So I sometimes have to work with people on specific things that are causing problems. Let me give you one example. With the steering instinct, what will often happen, especially this is true with newer golfers, is as they swing back, their brain is not only thinking of trying to put the club into a straight line, but it's also instinctively trying to keep the club face oriented so that it's facing towards the ball. So rather than the face naturally opening as the person swings back, they literally twist their hands and wrists under and they end up with a big bow in their wrist. Now oftentimes when they come back around the other way, they'll retwist it and go the other way. So I don't know if you do that or not. Some people it happens, some people it doesn't. But for those who do this, I have to help you understand a different feel for how the club is supposed to move to overcome this steering instinct. Now, sometimes I don't even fix that though. Because if a person has a particular mechanical flaw, like bowing their wrist, well, if they hit the ball fine doing that, why would I need to fix that? That's their brain's own way that they figured out how to get the club head on the ball. So, yes, it's not mechanically ideal, but for some golfers, that feels right to them, and it works. Let me give you a particular example. What's his name? Oh, Dustin Johnson, the current world #1 golfer. Dustin starts off with what's called a very strong grip. So his hands, this is kind of a neutral grip. In golf, it's not grip strength when we talk about strong, weak, and neutral grips. Neutral basically means the hands are more or less in their natural state from the sides. Weak would be when the hands are turned towards the target, and strong would be when the hands are turned away from the target like this. So Dustin Johnson actually starts off with a very strong left and right hand grip. As he swings back, he, probably because he started as a young boy and had the steering instinct but didn't know it, his hand would twist and turn because his brain is thinking he's keeping the club oriented so it's facing towards the target. And then he ends up with this huge bow in his wrist. So he goes from here, very strong, to here at the top of his swing. So what has he done to the face? No, he's twisted it some 75, 80 degrees out of position from its original starting position at address. Then, as he comes back down, his brain just instinctively figures out how to get that club face back to a relatively square position. And when he swings through, he kind of cups it on the other side when he finishes on this side. So, should we try and fix him? He's the #1 golfer in the world. So you may have a mechanical flaw that is affecting your ability to swing that we may need to look at. But sometimes I don't fix mechanical flaws because they don't need fixing because the person hits the ball just fine with their mechanical flaw. and trying to change it wouldn't necessarily make them better or more consistent. That's why Butch Harmon, Dustin Johnson's golf coach, he doesn't tell Dustin to fix this big hump in his wrist that he swings with, because he doesn't need to. Now you might be thinking, oh, this means I have to spend some money. Yes, you do. But in the words of Alistair Mackenzie, who was a famous golf architect who created the Augusta National Golf Course, he said, "The cost of the best advice is infinitesimal in comparison to the amount of money frequently wasted without it." So, spend a little bit of money, go online and register for some online coaching, and I can definitely help you get this real swing golf concept so that you start improving. So I hope you've enjoyed this session. Hope you can glean some more little crumbs out of it. And until next time, keep it real.